In 1745, Charles Edward Stuart, remembered as Bonnie Prince Charles, landed on the west coast of Scotland. He came with the dream of reclaiming the British throne for his father, to restore the Stuart dynasty, and to ignite rebellion against the Hanoverian king George II. At first it seemed almost magical. Highland clans rallied to his banner, Edinburgh fell, victory followed victory. The Jacobite army even marched as far south as Derby in England, just 125 miles from London. But rebellions do not run on courage alone. They run on weapons, supplies, and money. And money is something the prince did not have. Throughout history, Britain has been really good at annoying the rest of the world, and its many enemies wanted to see it fall, but often lacked the capabilities to do it themselves, so they were often more than happy to fund Britain's enemies. France and Spain both fell into this category during the 18th century, so they sent aid to the Jacobite rebels. They sent ships, weapons, and most importantly, they sent gold. In early 1746, as the rebellion trembled on the edge of survival, French ships prepared a massive financial lifeline, 1.2 million livres in gold and coin, an enormous sum, enough to pay the troops and buy their loyalty, enough, perhaps, to change history. The only problem was getting it there safely, and in time to make a difference. One of the first shipments of supplies was sent aboard a ship called Le Prince Charles, which was intercepted by British forces after the skirmish of Tongue. Government troops seized its gold before it could reach the prince. The rebellion was already on its last legs and needed support badly, and time was quickly running out. April 16th, 1746, Culloden Moor. In less than an hour, the Jacobite dream was destroyed. Exhausted Highlanders charged across open ground into disciplined government fire. Muskets and cannons tore through their ranks, and when the smoke cleared, over 1,000 Jacobites lay dead. The rebellion was finished, with all hope of rebuilding another army gone forever. Bonnie Prince Charles was now a fugitive, but even as his army fell, the gold was still sailing towards Scotland on ships unaware of the battle's outcome. Two French frigates, Mars and Bellona, reached the west coast of Scotland on April 30th, 1746. They anchored at Loch Nan Uach, expecting to be met by an army. They carried the treasure, but there was no one waiting to receive it, only scattered survivors hiding in the hills. Still, 6 or 7 caskets of gold were unloaded just in case. Heavy chests filled with Spanish and French coins. Some say one casket was stolen almost immediately by men loyal to a Highland chief named MacDonald of Barrisdale. The remaining gold was carried inland, towards a remote and shadowed place near Loch Arkaig. The loch is long and well sheltered, laying between steep highland slopes. Even today it feels untouched. It was here that the treasure was hidden, buried, concealed and in several different burial spots for safety. The exact location was entrusted to a handful of Jacobite leaders. Among them, John Murray of Broughton, later captured and turned government witness, Donald Cameron of Lochiel, last seen wounded and fleeing from the battle, and Ewan Macpherson of Cluny. Cluny went into hiding in the mountains, living for years in a concealed shelter known as Cluny's Cage. From this woodland refuge, he guarded the secret of the gold. British soldiers scoured the Highlands looking for him, burning homes and dismantling clans as they went, but they didn't find him, or any clues to where the gold was hidden. Bonnie Prince Charles escaped Scotland after 5 months on the run, famously aided by Flora MacDonald. He fled to France, but exile is not glory. He wanted the gold to rebuild his claim, to sustain his court and preserve his dignity. Some of the treasure was eventually recovered in small portions and secretly transferred to him, most of which was probably seized from Chief MacDonald of Barrisdale, whose men stole one of the chests on landing, but nowhere near what was unloaded by the French. Accusations and theories started to surface. Had custodians kept some for themselves? Was it lost or stolen? Or does it still lie within the valley walls of Loch Arkaig? No complete accounting of the treasure was ever made, and the prince never reclaimed anywhere near the full amount meant to save his crown. For nearly 3 centuries, treasure hunters have searched the Highlands. Metal detectors sweep the nearby moors, divers explore the loch's depths, historians scroll through fading letters in hopes of a clue, but no great recovery has ever surfaced. Perhaps the gold was fully distributed long ago, quietly spent in exile. Perhaps it was melted down and lost in history, or perhaps the last surviving person who knew its location died before he could tell anyone where it was. and there the Jacobite gold still waits. The story of Bonnie Prince Charles' lost gold is not just about treasure. It's about bad timing and hope arriving too late, about a kingdom that slipped through trembling fingers due to supplies and gold, and somewhere in the Highlands, where mist drifts low over dark waters, the gold could still be waiting.